Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a Monday, and Monday is my favorite day of the week. You know why? Because Monday is an opportunity to get it right one more again. That's right. This is your boy Tim Wilson. What up, though? With uh, the morning coffee live here on Blab. What up, though? I got my new little hookup today so people can see my. I want to see it though. I want to see what it looks like out there. So I'm gonna cheat and go over to another tab. I got it's like on Blab now. You can have a cover, so to speak, show card. So I built a show card yesterday, last night, and I put my show card up. So today is my first time doing the show with a show card. I want to see the show card here. I want to see what it looks like. There it is. Boom, the morning coffee. There I go. There I go. There I go. There I go. Don't miss the show. I said no, 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 we didn't. Okay, so I am on record doing Dougie Fresh. Okay. So anyway, now that I have done that, I know I'm starting a little earlier than normal, so there's not a lot of people on yet. People don't know I'm here yet, so I'm here by myself. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about. So the morning coffee, what happens is I drink 2 cups of coffee a day. That means people are going to start coming in, and I'm already going to be on my second cup. That's what's actually going to happen here, in case you don't know. This is what happens when I start my show early. I come in, I'm by myself. I start doing the show by myself. And then as people start to come in, I'm like almost done with my first cup of coffee or already into my second cup of coffee. But they're going to get used to it because I'm going to start doing it earlier and earlier because I need to get it done and get the hell out of here and go to work. So a man was shot and pushed out of a moving car right down the road from me here last night, and he was killed. He did die. So police are investigating to find out who this man was that shot a man and pushed him out of his car. And my question is, what did he do? Why would you do something like that? What did the man do to deserve such punishment? Could it be anything that a man could do to make you do that to him and push him out of a moving car? Shoot him first and then push him out of the car. That's got to be painful. It's got to hurt. It has to, right? What else is going on? Let's see. I wanted to put some text at the bottom, but I messed that up. What else can we do? So my hashtags today, of course, Paris is on there because, of course, everyone is talking about the tragedy in Paris over the weekend. And rightfully so. Rightfully so they are. And I'm going to scoot over so at least I'm in the middle. Yeah, there I go. Rightfully so, everyone's talking about the tragedy in Paris and support Paris. Pray for the citizens of Paris that either lost family members or friends or something like that. I mean, for the lives lost, man, I do feel bad. This was a horrible, horrible situation out there in Paris, and anybody that finds humor in it is small, and that's all I can say. It's very small-minded to try to find humor in a tragedy like this. So for the hashtag glamour, okay, so check this story out. This is the trip. A husband of a 9/11 hero returned the Glamour Honor Award for Woman of the Year. Okay, so previously, in other words, last year, police officer Maurice, how you pronounce her fucking name? I'm just gonna say Maura. Okay, so police officer Maura Smith was posthumously given the award after she gave her life helping to evacuate people out of the World Trade Center. Uh, so last year, Morris Smith, a police officer who was killed at the 9/11 tragedy, was awarded the Woman of the Year from Glamour. Well, this year, the award was won by Caitlyn Jenner. And the husband of Morris Smith said he felt it was a slap in the face to hand this award now to a man. And so therefore, he gave the award back to Glamour. An interesting story to me. I'm not a fan of the Caitlyn Jenner phenomenon. So first you put the Kardashian clan on the cover of People magazine saying first family. Okay. And then you put Caitlyn Jenner up as the Woman of the Year. I need everybody to do me a favor and give me a fucking break on the Caitlyn Jenner shit, because I'm not with it. Tim's not buying in. Tim did not buy into the Caitlyn Jenner fiasco. See, I think some people are seeing my show card and don't recognize me because they used to seeing my other picture. But they'll get used to it. They'll figure it out. So hashtag Pastafarian. This is a What Up Doe type story. So for those that are familiar with the What Up Doe show, this is the kind of stories that probably would have made it to the, it's not a probably, this story would have made it to the What Up Doe show. There is no doubt about it. This woman, I didn't see the picture beforehand, but this woman wears a colander on her head, on her driver's license. And they tried to tell her she couldn't do it, but she proved to them that she was in a religion of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So therefore, they had to let her wear this shit on her head, on her driver's license. And it's pretty freaking funny. Now, there's a picture of her smiling with it on that's not as good as the driver's license. The driver's license is like classic. It is classic cinema because she just looks like a freaking nutbag. I like the nutbag look. Okay, so it takes me forever, for whatever reason, for this story to load. There it is. Can I get this? Can I lift this picture is the question now. Can I please? Can I? Ah, there it is. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. The Pastafari Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. You gotta love that. I don't know if somebody's there. I'm actually not in the Blab right now. I am trying to find a picture of this Flying Spaghetti Monster. The Flying Spaghetti Monster. How about that? Okay, so she wins the right to wear her, to have that on a driver's license because she proved she was a member of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti. Good morning. Somebody isn't here. I'm sorry. Ibrahim, how you doing, Ibrahim Fariat? I think you've been here before. I'm not sure, but feel free to take a seat. I didn't know you were here, man. I apologize. I was just talking about this story where this lady won the right to wear this thing on her head, on her driver's license, because she is of the religion of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So she has the right to wear that on her driver's license, that thing on her head, because she is a member of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Show notes guy, what up, those show notes guy? Come on and have a seat. This is definitely my first time seeing the show notes guy, but you're more than welcome to join me. Welcome to the morning coffee this morning. I got an earlier start than I normally get, so a lot of people don't know that I'm here, so that's why it's slow starting, but it's okay. It's going to be their loss because the way this show goes, I do 2 cups of coffee, and when my second cup of coffee is gone, this show is over. I was just kind of running down the hashtag since nobody was here, and I was just doing it for the recording. But feel free to step in, tell me about yourself, tell me what you do. Good morning, Kevin. Welcome to the morning coffee here with Tim Wilson. Kevin Scullion has been here before. Excuse me. I know because I'm following him. I follow everyone that comes in. And so let me give you a little rundown on everybody that's in the room real quick. I got Abraham. He's a senior graphic designer. I've got show notes guy. I'm Philip Swindle, the show notes guy. I write some of the most awesome show notes for podcasting. So tell me more about that because I am a podcaster. So I'm sure I'm interested in what that means. Kevin Scullion, host of Passing Places Around Scotland, a podcast diary of my ongoing travels around the country. So yes, definitely show notes guy, you need to get in because there's 2 podcasters in the room right now that one of which is definitely interested in what you do. Digital Nomad, www.bonnietours.com. That's for Kevin Scullion, by the way, bonnietours.com. Also, the hashtag BOB, the Pastafarian, for those that don't know, this lady won a case so she can wear this thing on her driver's license on her head because she is a member of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So that's what the hashtag Pastafarian is about. Somebody take a seat so I can talk to you. I don't like talking at you. This isn't Periscope. This is Blab. The purpose of Blab is that people can sit down and have a conversation. And this show, while I have hashtags to draw attention and to give myself something to talk about before people get here, can't do vid on the iPad. Okay, I got you, show notes guy. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for that explanation. I do understand. Maybe next time we can catch up and get on. If you ever host a Blab, feel free to send me an invite. You know how to. I don't know if you know how to invite people. You invite them by typing their handle into the comments, and it will send an invite directly to that person. So if you ever want to invite I'm at Tim Wilson, Tim_Wilson 126. Damn, I don't even know my own handle, and I expect you to know it. So anyway, so I kind of ran down the hashtags, but nobody's here. But when people are here, I like to talk to people and talk about people and what they do. And, we kind of get to know one another. That's what this does. This platform does it better than any other platform. It helps you build relationships that you can actually have conversation. I think Abraham is just looking at his name and knowing the history of people that come in like Abraham. I get a lot of people in this Blab that are not from this country because most people in this country are still asleep because we're lazy lima beans. So he probably didn't speak English well enough to keep up with what I'm saying. I'm probably talking too fast for him, which is surprising because I'm still in my first cup of coffee. And usually I don't speed up my talk until my second cup of coffee. But anyway, here's what it is. So BOB, hashtag BOB, those that don't know, is for Best of Blab, which you can visit that link right there in the comments, bestofblab.com, and vote on your favorite topics. The Morning Coffee with Tim Wilson was not nominated for Best Show. So there was some people in last week on Friday. I had a pretty big crowd on Friday, my Friday show. And they came in and a lot of people said, hey, they didn't get a chance to nominate it. If they would have had the opportunity, my show would have been nominated. And unfortunately, my show was not nominated for Best of Blab, but I am nominated for a few topics. I am proud of everything. I don't care. Negative attention is just as good as any attention. I don't know why I was nominated for most likely to be banned from Blab, but I say vote for me anyway. I don't care. I want all of it. I want everything that I'm nominated for. I was nominated for funniest, and actually, I'm absolutely hilarious. You can't tell right now, but on the surface, it doesn't look that way. But trust me, you hang around, and I am very, very funny. Most likely to show, I've got best lips. I don't know why they didn't give me the best lips. I think I should have got best lips, since considering you can't prove that I don't, since nobody can see them. But that's how I roll. This is called timming. For those that don't know, this is what they call hashtag timming. I know that at least the show notes guy is in for the first time with me, so he's probably saying, why can't I see the bottom of your face? Tilt your camera, all of that stuff. That is the easiest way to get kicked out of my blab. I let people get away with it once. After your fair warning, just roll with it. I dare to be different. Accept those that are unlike you, and be okay with the fact that I do my blabbing just like this. Always have from day one. Been here a long time. I've earned my OG. It's funny because I'm pointing here and I'm pointing at my name, but the fact is on my screen, it looks like my name is here because my screen is backwards. So anyway, so I roll like this. This is how I am. The reason I do it, my camera is stationary right there. It's stationary, and my desk is down here, and my mic is in the stand. I mean, I could do this, but why be uncomfortable for you fucks? Why don't you just get used to seeing me like this? That's what I say. Anyway, so bestofblab.com. Go to bestofblab.com and vote. There's categories for women and categories for men. I got best hair. I should have got best hair. I didn't get best hair. I don't know why I didn't get that. But I know if you think it's funny that I say that because I'm bald and I should have best hair, but there are actually like 3 bald guys nominated for best hair. So maybe they're talking about pubic hair. Best pubic hair. Maybe they should have said that. So TGIM, of course, that means thank God it's Monday. Monday is one of my favorite days of the week. It is an opportunity to get it right all over again. I don't look at Mondays like the average person look at Mondays. I don't dread them. I celebrate them because it is an opportunity to start over again and make my week more productive than last week. So let's rehash real quick since nobody's sitting down. Hey, Mr. Kevin, what's your excuse? Why aren't you sitting down? Why don't you come on in and have a seat, sir? Talk to me. Stop making me talk to myself. 2 minutes. He's been here for 20 minutes, and he's saying 2 minutes now. Okay, sir. 2 minutes it is. I'll take that. Better than nothing. So for Paris, I'm just going to back up one to Glamour. For those that don't know, Glamour magazine, Maura Smith won Glamour magazine's Woman of the Year last year. She was a survivor of the 9/11 attack. Well, I don't know if it was last year. It may have been a few years back, considering 9/11 happened a while ago. But Maura Smith, who was a survivor, not a survivor, I'm sorry, she was killed. She was a police officer killed saving people from the tragedy of 9/11. And she won the Glamour magazine's Woman of the Year. Well, her husband gave the award back because this year, Caitlyn Jenner won the Glamour magazine's Woman of the Year. And he says that he felt it's a slap in the face to give that award to a man. So here's your award back. We don't want a part of it. So he handed back the award that was awarded to his wife posthumously after the tragedy of 9/11 because he doesn't want his wife's legacy tainted, so to speak, in his estimation, by an award that was later given to a man, Caitlyn Jenner, who is technically a woman now. I mean, he's no longer a man. He went through the surgery and he had his gonads removed. He said, "Guess what? I don't have anymore. These nuts." So that's what he doesn't have anymore. That was an interesting story to me. And Kevin Scullion, thank you, sir, for hopping into the morning coffee. Welcome to the morning coffee with Tim Wilson, brother. How you doing?
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I am good, sir. How are you?
Good. I'm in Scotland, so it's lunchtime here. That's why I didn't want to jump on. I was in the middle of my lunch.
Oh, man, you could have shared lunch with us. So you're in Scotland. What part of Scotland?
I'm in a place called Stirling, which is in the middle, really. Just north of Glasgow and Edinburgh, but quite central.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Morning Coffee with Tim Wilson. And I say that lightly, considering it's afternoon there, but it is morning here. As you can see, is it here? Is my clock right there?
Yes.
Or is it right here? Okay. So my clock is right there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So my clock is right there. I do that because at the time of day that I do my show, most of America is sleep. Most people in my time zone are still asleep. So to show the difference in time zone, I put my clock there so everybody can see what time it is, where I am, and not be confused.
Good time of day, though.
Yeah, 6:53 a.m. It's pretty cool. I think, and I get a lot of people from other countries in this Blab as well. So that's why I do that. Steve Payne, who's probably going to show up before this is over, he's the one that started me doing that because he comes in. It's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He's in London. So how's the weather there in Scotland?
Oh, it's not so good. Yeah, we've got a bit of brightness, but quite high wind and big grey clouds rolling in with almost sleet, but rain. So every type of weather's coming through every 5 minutes, which is that time of year, really. I've got a fantastic view out my flat here, so I can see for on a nice day, maybe 20 miles. So I can see the weather coming from the west. So it's not a pleasant day.
Wow. Really. Wow. Okay. Well, that's cool. So one thing about this show, because I get a lot of people from other countries, as I mentioned, I also get a lot of different accents, and I've been trying to learn some new accents, and I'm horrible, by the way. I'm horrible with my accents. Here's my London accent. What I've learned so far. All right, son. You and I are gonna have a little chat. See how bad that is? I'm horrible.
Let's hear you. I'll teach one then.
I don't have one. You got to teach me. See, Scott Payne has been teaching me my London accent. All right, son.
You have to watch Shrek a couple of times and just learn from there.
I have to watch it a couple of times and go. I'm horrible, man. No, you know what? But the weather here, I've been watching the weather here, and there's like this heat front coming from the south. See it there? It's coming from the south there. So tell me about your podcast, Kevin. What is your podcast about?
Oh, it's just it's a hobby, really. I travel around Scotland in a van, but it's more a motorhome. And I try and spend 8 or 9 months a year in the van, and I come home around about this time of year for the winter. And I just thought, well, why not do a podcast? I've always been into all the technology and stuff. And I was listening to a lot of podcasts when I was out, beyond mobile phone reach and things. So I ended up doing my own, and it's been the best thing I've done in terms of engagement. I've got a nice little group of people who listen to it and keep in touch with me. And I've met listeners in person because they've been on, researching a holiday in Scotland, and they find my podcast and then they ask me for advice, information, and we end up catching up when they're on their holidays or their vacation. So it's worked out really well. It's just a hobby that shares my interest with other people.
Yeah, it's a hobby. It was a hobby for me too. And now I do this morning coffee show. I used to actually do a morning news show every morning. That was my original show, but it had a fun twist. It was a morning show with a fun twist. It was a news show with a fun twist. And they got pretty popular. I did it just, one morning. Didn't even know I was doing it. I didn't know anybody was listening. It was just something for me to do as my morning. Like right now, the reason I do this, again, I have 2 cups of coffee every morning, and I'm sharing my coffee with Blab. When my second cup is gone, the show is over. And I was doing this is exactly the same thing I was doing, but I would gather these crazy stories and do these crazy news stories. It was real news. You know, I got to learn eventually that was one thing about it. I had to be honest because it was truly news. It wasn't like fake stories I was making up. The stories were funny, but they were real. They were real. And so, and it was just something I just got into as a routine to get up every morning and do pour my coffee and do my little show. And one day I got in touch with an old friend via Facebook, and she reached out to me and she started singing my theme song, the What Up Doe, the What Up Doe, the What Up Doe Show. And I was like, people actually listen to this shit? What the hell? So I had no idea that I had listeners. The next thing you know, it just started taking off. And it got pretty popular there before I stopped doing the show.
And what about what about the Unusual Suspects? Is that a different show? Or?
Yeah, the Unusual Suspects was a show I started later, which I actually put together a concept of let me do something that's really cool. And it was a really cool show. I just couldn't keep it up. I got burnt out with the editing. But what I would do is I would grab 3 podcasters. Okay. Actually, it would be four podcasters. I'm sorry. I would have four other podcasters. Great story about this show, actually. It was 4 other podcasters, and what I would do, I would ask them the hot topics of questions. I would create 10 questions based on the hot topics of the week. I'd let you know what they are, but you don't know when they're coming. You know, I would just collect more than 10, actually, and I would just shoot them all out to you. Of these questions that I'm sending you, 10 of them are going to be the questions I ask you. So know your shit. You know, study up, know what you want to say about everything, because I don't know what it's going to narrow down to, because by the time we do the show, I'm going to have this narrowed down to 10 questions that I think at this time is the hottest 10, or at least the most fun. And I would ask first round, I would hit them with 3 questions. Each person gets to answer that question as I score their answers. And then I eliminate somebody. In the second round, I asked 3 questions to the remaining 3 podcasters, and I would score their answers, and then I eliminate somebody. And then it's down to 2, and I asked them, actually, it's best 2 out of 3. It could come only down to 9 questions. It never did. It always came down to all 10 questions. But the last one, I asked, a question. I think the first round is 4 questions, actually. And then the second round is 3, and then the third round is best 2 out of 3. And then there's a winner, and that winner gets to do a 30-second spiel about anything, and then the show is over. Right? And that's actually how I found out about Blab. Here's the interesting part of the story. Sean Perry, who's the CEO of the site, at the time I didn't know who he was. I didn't know about the site. I didn't know he was the CEO. I got an email from him because I used to go to these podcast groups and say, hey, I'm looking for people to do the show. Is anybody interested? And I'm going to pick once I've got my 4, I'll let you know next time, right? Well, he saw that and he heard the first episode, and he sent me an email, said, hey, love the show. I'd like for you to come do it on the site. You should come check out this site. He didn't tell me it was his site. He said, you should come check out this site. I think it's cool. You can go and it's similar to what you're doing, but you can score it and click. And I say, yeah, it sounds just like what I do. And so I came to the site, and we talked back and forth for a while. I loved it. Then I found out he was the CEO of the freaking site, and there was nobody there here yet. I mean, it was somebody. I won't say nobody. That's wrong with me. Bad man. But it was not a lot of people here yet. It was a handful of people. So I did do one episode here, actually. I did. Sean was actually on it because one of the people that was supposed to be on it was a no-show. So Sean sat in and did the show. So there is one episode. It's on my replay, actually. It came out much better after I edited the whole thing down and did it as a podcast. So it's kind of raw on the show. But, yeah, it's in fact, I got kicked out of it live. So, that's edited out of the actual podcast. So it's kind of funny. But Sean came in. So, but the difference is on this show, there's only 3 people, right? There's only 3 podcasters, and then people from this, anybody can vote. So it was kind of cool because I had somebody that volunteered to stay on the sideline in the comments to make sure that people knew as they came in, hey, don't just willy-nilly just start giving people props. Well, back then it was called feels. He said, don't just throw feels out there willy-nilly because you're actually scoring the show. Yeah. So don't do it. So it of course it happened, but we were still able to keep it under enough control that it didn't get out of hand. And it turned out to be pretty doggone fun. And it worked. It worked out. It really did. So I'll probably do it again. Instead of doing it as the podcast, just start doing it here on a weekly basis on Blab. And I'll just it'll be a cool way to get more podcasters into the site.
Maybe a nice little tweak to the site in terms of features if they gave the host control over the props. Just even the stop button where you could start it when you're ready,
Right. That's true. And I had mentioned that to them. It also mentioned that my show was on here. I have to narrow it down to 3 people as opposed to 4, like the show normally is formatted. So what we did was nobody was eliminated. It just came down to who had the most props at the end. Right. So that's how it went. And it was cool. I mean, but I asked him if I could, narrow it down. Can I have a 5th person? Can I be like a moderator? Have a 5th person? I envisioned like a little circle in the middle that asked the questions and around the 4. So we talked about it a lot, and it was just decided amongst him and the crew, and they all got back with me. I got to know everybody, Brittany and Furkan, and they were all on all the time back then anyway. And we just decided it was best to keep it as is, and we're just going to roll with 3 and see how it works. And it worked out. It worked out really good. And Sean was actually really pretty entertaining. He didn't win though. He didn't win. He lost. But it's cool now. It's a little different now because back then you didn't have the host power that you have now. So now I could go back to an elimination, and because you can kick somebody out. Yep. You can say, okay, and you're out, and I kick that person out of the Blab. So that's a cool thing that you can do now that you couldn't do then.
And do you do this show every day, or?
I used to do it once a week. Again, I haven't done it in a while now. It's been a couple months actually. I backed off of it. I've been doing this, and this is it. So it's just I've got to get off my snide and get back to editing because the editing is kind of backed me out of it. I just kind of backed up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot involved, isn't there, in podcasting? When you break it down, it can take up quite a few hours of your week if you're trying to do a daily show. My goodness, that's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Now my daily show was a little easier because I didn't edit it.
Right.
I did it live, and I was in and I was out. When it was over, and that's all. But my weekly show, it was a little longer. I had more people. It was a little less control, and people could, run on a little bit. And I did. What happened with my last show burnt me out. Mike Williams, good morning and welcome to the Morning Coffee. I have 2 open seats. Feel free to take one. So what happened was I let them run on a little too long on my last one that I did, and it took forever to edit it. It really did. It was killing me because I was just like, it just got frustrating because no matter how many, I did like 5 different edits and the fucking show was still almost 20 minutes, 30 minutes too long. Yeah. And I was like, how much do I have to cut out of this? So it told me that moving forward, I have to cut people off a little faster, be a little quicker with the acts on how long I let them run on before I cut them off. And because it was just too much. And it just burnt me out, and I just got frustrated with it to the point that I stopped doing it. I just said, never mind.
Yeah.
Great idea, great show, but it's killing me. Good morning, Mike Northglass. So I got two Mikes in the building. Mike and Mike is in the building. So Mike and Mike, I have two open seats. You are both welcome to take them. Mike Williams. I work with two guys named Mike Williams. How about that? One is we call one MJ and one MC because it's Michael Carl and Michael James. So that we go by that because their both name is Mike Williams. One I like and one I don't. So how about that? So Mike Realtor Mike Williams, project manager, Group Dubai. That's interesting. And Mike Northglass here is Northglass Works. He's a glass blower, pipe maker, artist, 18 plus to follow, please. Uh-oh, that means he does some funky pipes there. What up, though? I like that, Mike. No, I think I've seen Mike Northglass before. I've been in a Blab before where a guy was doing some glass blowing art, and it was pretty freaking awesome. Actually, he was doing it on Blab, doing making it. It was pretty cool. So, guys, please, one of you sit in because the way this show goes, I do 2 cups of coffee a morning. When my second cup of coffee is gone, this show is over. And right now, I just finished my first cup of coffee so that Mr. Scullion is not stuck in here alone. I have to go while I go get my second cup of coffee. I would like for him to have someone to talk to. So I have 2 open seats. Please, somebody take them. Both of you are welcome to join. Please take one to keep the conversation going with Mr. Scullion while I get my second cup of coffee. Mr. Northglass, if you want to get in and show us what you do, please do. Please. I'm begging you. I'm on my knees, damn it. Can't you see? You can't. That's why you can't see me. I'm on my freaking knees. Get in. Sit the fuck down. All right. So, I don't understand the concept of getting in on Blab. This is not Periscope. Sit down. Get in. We want to see you. We want to talk to you. That's what this is all about. We're not zoo monkeys here. Come on, get in. Well, I have to go get my second cup of coffee, Kevin. If you'd like to keep the now, what are your thoughts? If you can share your thoughts on the Paris situation. While I'm going to get the coffee. It doesn't take me long, so I'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, and that'll give you something that you can kind of talk about while I go get my coffee.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Paris is you're throwing me in the deep end here. An interesting thing I'd say about Paris is I don't watch any news channels at all. I don't watch any television or radio news, so I gave up on that a couple of years ago. Completely binned the mass media. I don't buy any newspapers, and I get all my news from online. I get it all from Twitter, and I haven't therefore followed all the aftermath on the television.
Okay.
So
I am back, by the way. Yeah, I am back. I told you it doesn't take long. But before I come back, I have to give you a little halftime entertainment. It's a little thing that I do. There you go. Where you go. Boom. Pow. Pow. There we go. All right. So, okay. And we're back. That's your halftime show. Yeah. Colin's Random Thoughts. What's up, Colin? Feel free to hop in, man. How you doing this morning? Welcome to the Morning Coffee with Tim Wilson. I just started my second cup of coffee. When this cup of coffee is gone, this show is over. So, you're in good time. You're right at the beginning of the second half. I love that. Let me see that cup, man. Let me see that mug you got there, Kevin. Oh, really cool. Really cool. It looks like some words across the bottom. What does it say?
It says motorhomers always wave to each other.
Motorhomers wave to each other. So you mentioned when you were telling me about your podcast that you are on the road in your motorhome for 9 months.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I didn't quite manage 9 months this year, but the previous 2 years I was 8 or 9 months of the year. I jumped off the hamster wheel of work about 6 years ago, and I'm time rich now, so I try and spend as much time as I can travelling around Scotland.
Okay.
But when you get to this time of year, the clocks have turned back and the weather's pretty poor. There's not much fun sitting in a van for 17 hours of darkness in the winter, you know. So
Gotcha. I have a morning coffee veteran in the building, James Lawson. How you doing this morning, James? He's a U.S. Navy retired. Retiree, work from home, developing advertising and traffic sites most current. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I just saw James Lawson. I have to give him a shout.
I'm probably a bit like James. I mean, I say I'm retired, but I'm quite keen to keep my mind active. So I've been increasingly, I mentioned in my bio, being a digital nomad. I do my audio production stuff. I do my own podcast, but I also do audio production for somebody else, and I do websites for people and some social media stuff, all to keep me active. So my plan was to maybe build it up a little bit over a couple of years and just have enough of an income to fund my lifestyle, really.
Extra cool, extra cool. So I kind of designed my own little website, but I never published it. I never put it out because I got frustrated because every time I thought I had already put enough money into it, they asked for more. So I was like, you know what? Screw you. Good morning, Makeup Guru. The Makeup Guru is in the building. You are now a co-host, by the way, Kevin. I know you well enough now to make you a co-host. That's the way my show goes. Everybody that I know and love, I make them a co-host. The whole show. One morning we had like 30 co-hosts in here. It was pretty fun. So people were just kicking each other out like left and right. It was really fun. Makeup Guru, how you doing? Eventually I had to stop it. I had to stop it because it got out of hand because it was like I had one rule. You can kick anybody out, but you got to take their seat so we know who kicked them out. And people just start kicking them out from the sideline. So I had to say, okay, never mind. If you're going to kick somebody out, you got to take their seat, and so we know who did it. We don't want sneak kicks. We want real. We want you to kick them out with a vengeance. Kick them out with a purpose. I am awesome there, Makeup Guru. Thank you for joining me this morning. Makeup Guru is in the morning coffee often because she is always up and ready to get her grind on and get somebody's hair done and do their makeup and their eyelashes and stuff and put on their lipstick and their lip balm and making sure their eyes all shadowed out. And she be putting piercings in their foreheads. Come on, get in, have a seat. Can you sit down this morning or are you driving? Making people pretty. That's what she do for a living. She make people pretty for a living. Love Makeup Guru. Oh, she's attempting to drive. Yeah, don't do it then. Just go ahead and do you. Listen only then. She's on listen only mode. She's done it before. She's came in here driving before. She can do it. She can pull it off. Good morning, Tony. This is not the Tony I know, so I don't know. I live life vicariously through the people at the laundromat. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know how that works, but that's cool. And they left. Okay, Tony, thanks for joining. I'm going to click Tony's name because I follow Tony, and I'm going to unfollow Tony real quick. There we go. So people that just pop in and then leave, I'm unfollowing. So that's how it works. I follow you for coming in, but then I unfollow because you didn't spend enough time in here with me. That's how I roll. So if you're going to come in and hang out with me, definitely come in. Follow everybody that comes to the show. So I think that's interesting, though, that you spend 9 months of the year on the road. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, I have a 13-year-old daughter that I see at weekends, and we share like school holidays, childcare. So she keeps me grounded in Scotland in all sorts of good ways, because I obviously want to see her. But when she's 14 actually tomorrow, but when she gets to the age where she goes off to get a job or goes to university or gets a boyfriend or all three or whatever, then if I can still afford to do what I'm doing, I'd probably want to winter in mainland Europe, maybe south of Spain or somewhere, North Africa or something, but try and get a better climate because Scotland isn't viable in the winter.
Really?
If you were in a country where you had proper snow and you could think, well, this is all going to be snow for 2 months, 3 months, then you would take the necessary, approaches to deal with that. But in Scotland, you don't know if you're going to get rain, snow, or ice, and what you end up doing is getting a lot of high wind and rain, and that's probably the most depressing type of weather you can get. So,
that's interesting. So the seasons are kind of jumbled, is what you're saying?
Well,
it's not like
because we get the weather coming in from the Atlantic, comes up from the Americas, and it's very moist, wet, damp air. But occasionally that'll turn and we'll get weather coming in from the north, from the Arctic, so we get some really cold snaps. But generally, we have wet and windy weather just above freezing in the winter.
Okay.
We've had a couple of bad winters recently. Well, last year was wet, but the two before that were really cold, where we had ice and snow for weeks on end. But it's quite a temperate climate overall, but we get far too much rain.
Wow.
The place
Okay.
is very, very
That's
green.
Oh, is it? It's very green.
Yeah, and
Is there a lot of open land though? A lot of.
Oh yeah. In Scotland in particular, I mean, we're obviously part of the UK. If you're in England, the population is maybe 60 million.
Mhm.
Scotland is a bit smaller in land mass, not by much, and we've got 5 million. So
Holy shit!
England's
You guys
10
don't
times the density in terms of population.
You guys got to get there and you got to do some more. You got to do some more fucking. Is what you got to do. Is what you're saying. That's good.
I should have been volunteered for that job a few years ago.
My goodness, man! I need some more.
The problem is
Need some more sex going on.
Scotland is where all the scenery is, all the beautiful mountains and the lakes and everything, and it's owned by it's a millionaire's playground. So the Scots were driven off the land in preference for sheep, and we were put in boats and sent to the Americas. So you'll find a lot of Scottish blood in America.
So you're saying that's what they're fucking the sheep. That's what they're doing. Is that?
There's more sheep in Scotland than there are people. So
Yeah. So now I get it.
yeah.
I see what's happening. Okay. Well, I mean, that's interesting to me, though. I mean, that really is a small population. So, for such a large amount of land. So, but I'm sure the scenery is beautiful, though.
Yeah, if you get the weather, if the cloud level lifts a bit, the scenery is pretty spectacular. There are a lot of beautiful places in the world, but Scotland would be one of them, I would say. That's why I like it. I like the whole, I go to all the more remote and wild areas. If you look at the tourist market in Scotland, it's all about tartan and golf and whiskey, which are all good things, or they're big sellers. But I tend to get away from all of that, and you'll find me on a beach on an island somewhere with a whole range of islands off the west coast and on the north coast. And you can park up there in a van, and I'll have the beach to myself for 3 days.
Really?
Yes, easily, yeah.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a beach for certainly 24 hours and I haven't met another person.
Sounds like there's a beach calling you now.
Yeah. That's one of the other things a big part of the country's got no mobile phone reception, so that's both good and bad.
Oh, yeah, that is true. So those pictures behind you in the background, are those pictures of Scotland?
Yeah, well, the one above my head is a place just near Skye, and then that other one's one of my photographs. It's a calendar, which is that's a picture of one of our mountains, but you probably can't see it because of my name's in the way.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I can see it actually pretty well. I see it better than the one that's over your head.
Of course, yeah, because you're reversed. I'm just noticing you were talking about which way to point, So
yeah, this is my name. But that's because I'm on Manicam. You're right. You're the right way.
I've got
your name is right on the picture.
I've got both views because I've got Blab open on my main monitor, which is why I keep looking over here. And because my webcam is off to the left, I've got it running off another monitor, so I can look at the webcam and talk to you. But it means when I look at myself in Blab, I'm facing both ways. One picture's one's facing that way and one's facing that way. So, but that mountain is one of our best mountains. The one with and you can maybe see a little stick or a pole. So
you actually took that photograph. You took that picture yourself.
And the pole.
And you made a calendar.
Yeah, and the pole in front is a way marker. It's what they call the West Highland Way. It's one of our long distance footpaths. So people would recognise that pole as a West Highland Way marker pole.
I got you.
Yeah.
What does that, when you say a West Highland Way marker pole, what does that mean?
It's a long distance footpath, and every so often they'll have a pole just to either confirm you're still on the track or maybe to show you a left or right turn. So people walk the West Highland Way. It's about 100 miles from Glasgow.
So for people that are walking there.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. Okay, so I've got a new person into the morning coffee that I've never seen before. IKO House Sea Pirate Network. And he's getting in. Thank you for getting in. Says we create in a non-physical state. And
Yeah, I came here to find out what is a Pastafarian.
Yeah, you're going to know what the Pastafarian is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Pastafarian, there's a woman in, damn, where was she? Never mind where she was. I forgot where she was. Okay, so you'll excuse that part of the story? If you don't mind, excuse that part of the story. I don't remember where she was. But anyway, she won a lawsuit so that she can wear this thing on her head because she proved to the judge that she is a member of the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So that's her driver's license right there. This is the real story. Her name is Lindsay Miller, and she belongs to the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So she won a case that you can wear that on her head right there.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with that. And I think that's a violation of using the term Tafari, to call her a Pastafarian. I think that just adds insult to the Rastafarian religion that anyone can wear a hat like that under the eyes of God and call themselves a Pastafarian. That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. This is no reverence for God whatsoever.
That is the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
I thought you were making this up.
I am not making it up, man. That is a real story that you can find if you search for it. It is out there. It is a real story. And it's in Massachusetts, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
In Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that I was Eco House. This is my art self. I was doing some mobile broadcasting the other day.
Okay.
And and to do it with Android, you actually need two personalities since you can't record from the Chrome browser on a mobile. You got to open up a record on one extension of yourself, and then add yourself, insert yourself into a room, and then go out and do your mobile record while leaving a chair vacant or have somebody be your co-host.
I got you. And this was my first time seeing your name like that. So I was like, totally like, who in the world? And I'm reading, and then you pop in, and it's Black Caesar.
And I had the music going and everything because I thought I was coming in as Black Caesar. I fooled myself too. So I had the Rastafarian music going, trying to find out about this. So who's your guest here?
This is Kevin Scullion. He's out of Scotland.
Scotland.
How did I do that?
Like
Scotland.
Fraser Ramsey. Oh.
Yeah, he's out of Scotland, and he actually does podcasting as a hobby. We were talking actually currently about what I thought is one of the most fascinating things that I heard in a while is that he travels by mobile home for 9 months out of a year.
Ooh.
Just roves, man. Just sees the world. Sees. I think that is actually extra cool.
Wait a minute. So we're talking about we get the mobile home to go global outside of Scotland?
Well, I would like to travel further afield in Scotland. I was just saying to Tim that I've got a 14-year-old daughter that I see at weekends and things, but when she's a bit older, I would probably like to take the van and head to Europe. And I've been around Europe in the summertime, but I would quite like to winter in North Africa or maybe Spain or somewhere like that.
Right. Yeah, because I've got a friend of mine from Greece that for years had been doing that, but with a group of motorcycle riders. Right. So now you're taking it to a different level. And I'd like to invite you. We started something here in Blab that we used to do in the beginning with it comes out of like the man on the street. I don't know if you remember that, Tim, but we have people that go out on the street and bring us the news from the areas that they're in. Right. Fraser Ramsey did that in Edinburgh yesterday.
Yeah, I know Fraser, yeah.
Oh, okay. You know Fraser. So yeah. We'd like to see if we could get you involved in the van and blabbing around from what you see going around Scotland in the motorhome.
There was an all-day podcasting event on Blab a couple of months ago, and it was a nice sunny day. I was out in the hills and I was on the podcasting. It was one of these 24-hour Blabs, and I was podcasting from the hills with a beautiful loch behind me. I was on my iPhone.
Uh-huh.
So the van is sort of semi-wrapped up for the winter now, but I might be out at some point. But,
yeah, because now we've been looking to capture on Blab. We want to have for the first time on Blab the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, that can be arranged.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got the lady with the hat and the monster in the church.
You've already had the Loch Ness Monster.
If I turn the lights on, I could do a good impression.
I caught it. Here's the Loch Ness. I got the Loch Ness. There she is right there. Boom.
There's a great story. There's a guy who, and I'm going back 25 years ago, he was in England and he had an obsession about the Loch Ness Monster. He sold his house, gave up his job, packed in his girlfriend, and he bought an old library, a mobile library van, and he drove up to Loch Ness and he parked it on the side of Loch Ness, and he's still there 25 years later.
The latest story I heard, because it's been kept kind of quiet for about, I would say, the last 30, 35 years. No one has really talked about the Loch Ness Monster, but the last little blurb and story I saw was pretty interesting, that the locals had created this Loch Ness Monster because they were having a problem with a lot of outsiders and tourists coming in. So this was a way to keep the visitors out of it. Yeah, no, you can't go here. We got this monster, see? And the people, so they were trying to say that this is how the rumor started, was trying to actually keep people out of that pristine lake area, from messing up their spot.
There it is. And that actually makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Now they've got umpteen Japanese tourist coaches arriving every hour.
So that PPP Insiders, that has nothing to do with podcasting, I would guess. That stands for point protocol, right?
No, this is for the winter. I was going to launch a new site. It's called Passing Places Podcast Insiders Club, and I was going to do extra audio and video for people who were part of the club, but I haven't quite launched yet. So that site is just about to go live. So, I've got a little group on Facebook that keep in touch with the podcast, and so I thought I'd have a special website for people who listen on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you podcast as you travel from other places?
Yeah, the idea was to try and capture the sounds of Scotland. So I love doing, little audio recorders. I use them outdoors. So I capture things like the sound of the waves on the beach, or the bird song, or maybe there's like a steam train comes into a place called Aviemore, and I've got audio of the steam train coming in and stuff. So whatever sounds I can think on that would translate well into the podcast.
Have you... not to throw any monkey wrench into the works there, Kevin, but have you gotten permission from my friend Word in Scotland to use Sounds of Scotland? Because that's actually the name of his group. and he's a hip hop rapper from out of Scotland. You can look him up on Twitter. His Twitter is @Word WERDSOS, which stands for Sounds of Scotland.
I'll definitely look him up. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm just bringing this out to make a point in conversation here. While you're doing the Sounds of Scotland, I'm into a lot of music, especially a little underground and hip hop music. And
like that?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
only thing he uses a capital W at times, but I think either one would work. But anyway, what I discovered is there's a whole underground hip hop scene in Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, not just Scotland, in all these countries, because I found out there was a underground hip hop scene in Halifax, in Canada, in Halifax.
Oh yeah, well Canada, yeah, but first Ireland, Scotland, and now the latest one, because they're following me all over with my website, is in India.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I knew India. Yeah, India for sure. I mean, it's crazy hip hop how big the underground scene of hip hop has taken off worldwide, man. Countries, people where you would not expect it to be, they have their own little underground scene because they can tell their story, and that's what hip hop is. It's about being able to tell your story from your perspective, and you know that's a worldwide phenomenon because everybody has a story.
Oh yeah. Well, what I'm noticing now too is a lot of these guys are now picking up on the fact that it's a little bit more global, because what's happening is they're realizing that the system of what they're writing about, that is the issues and problems with their own country, is a global thing. So they're realizing and saying, hey, wait a minute. Hey, we're just trying to promote our neighborhood here in Scotland, but look at this guy over here in India. He's facing the same thing, and you know.
Well, you know what it is too is that even if it's the same, but it's not the same. There is a culture of people in every country in every world that doesn't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? That nobody's paying attention to, that nobody hears from. Nobody heard from the ghetto before hip hop. Nobody heard the voice of certain parts of India without hip hop. Nobody would hear about certain parts of Mexico without hip hop. And that's what it was. It was the voice of the unheard being heard all of a sudden. Here's how you can hear it. And that's why it's called underground.
Yeah, that's where I think it would be good if Kevin could just get Word and Blasphemous Sinner and put them all in the mobile home with him.
Well, I've just followed him on Twitter, so I'll maybe reach out to him.
Oh yeah. But this way, so he knows who you're talking about. Because if you tell him Eco House, he's gonna go, what? Ooh. You know. So if you just tell him at BCXOG, that's my music self. They know me as Black Caesar. That's what
he just summons himself. You're gonna get a little notification that you're being summoned by yourself.
Oh,
to this Blab.
Oh yeah. Oh wait a minute. You mean out on Twitter?
Yeah. No, here on Blab, your other self is gonna get a notification that you're
okay.
That you called yourself into this room.
Right, I followed you anyway. So yeah, the Sounds of Scotland. I'd be interested.
Welcome back, James. Thanks for coming back, James. How you doing this morning?
What were you saying, Kevin?
The Sounds of Scotland, it'd be interesting to speak to him or follow up, because I tend to use that phrase quite loosely at times on the podcast. But I've got there's a traditional. The podcast is called Passing Places, which is the name that we to pass each other on these single track roads that we have in the Highlands. They're called Passing Places.
Right.
The roads are only one lane.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. And also passing places, I prefer to travel and to arrive. It's that sort of idea. So it's all about passing places.
Right, right. Because that's where I thought you were coming from when you were saying passing places, that it's places that you're passing as you're going from one point to another.
Because I go to the more remote areas, it's always single track roads. So my podcast gets a mention every 100 yards because it says passing place all throughout the Highlands. So that's the name of the podcast, to recognise the passing places.
That's a really good idea, because I'm really noticing that a lot of people are exclaiming about how many people are on Periscope and Meerkat doing these travel tours, and that's something that as an artist that I've done for quite some time, because it's always interesting to see through the eyes of someone else in different areas you can't get to. And I think Blab lends itself more to that, like with your podcast style, because now you can interact with people, on the screen, like Tim,
Yeah.
as you're traveling around. Where on the podcast, you can't really have a two-way engagement.
The reason I
Right.
was using the podcast was we have large areas with no mobile phone signal, but increasingly we've got Wi-Fi on campsites or hotspots, that we can use outside pubs and things. So I'm beginning to realise that I tried a Periscope the other day, but I'm realising that Periscope and Blab would be really valuable for people listening to the podcast, because they could keep a track of me in much more real time than having to wait every week or two for a podcast.
Mhm.
Right.
They could follow me in real time around the country,
Right.
I want to interrupt for 1 second, if I might. Just two things. One, I want to say good morning to Victoria, who just came in. That is my Blab girlfriend. And two, I have to do the exclamation point here.
Whoa, that's the morning coffee.
That is the last sip of the last cup of coffee. On this show, I do 2 cups of coffee. That is the last sip of the last cup of coffee. So we are now out of here, off the record. So I want to thank you, each and everyone, for listening to the morning coffee. And we are now.
You went off.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just give me 1 second. I'll be right back to finish that off with your exclamation point. Hold on. 1 minute.
I have no idea what to expect here, folks, because Black Caesar is extremely unpredictable. Hey, Victoria, how you doing? Victoria, you got to say it with she got 2 V's, so you got to start with Victoria. Is he getting coffee? Is that what he's doing? I have no idea. I don't know what to expect.
No, he's not getting coffee. I don't have my headphones on now, so to be able to hear in the room. Anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that picture that he put up of that woman with the driver's license plate, she wasn't a real Pastafarian. Always have a real Pastafarian on your show, like Black Caesar. See? Okay, here we go. It's right for you gotta have a real Pastafarian. All right? There you have it.
And now, with that said, we are off the record. Yo, peace out, y'all. Have a great day. And have a great week.